Okay. Yeah, sure. Can you guys all come? I know that there's not that much space, but just come as close as you can. So some people can you can pull a stool up or a chair, but you want to be able to listen into the kids a little bit. So come closer. Okay. Hi, you guys. How are you? Good. So your teacher and I and all the other teachers are here today to do some reading workshop with you. And we're going to do a quick lesson together. We're going to talk about how characters change across books. And then you guys will get a chance to go off and read in your own books, just like you do most days for reading time. And we will have some conferences with you. Okay? And we are practicing, all of the teachers and myself are practicing filming ourselves so that we can see how we teach and see if we can improve our teaching. So if there is a phone or a camera or something near you, don't worry about it. We're doing it for ourselves. Okay? Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, awesome. So, ready?
Ready.
All right. So we are going to talk a little bit about how characters change across a story. And you guys have probably noticed this in lots of different books that you've read, right? There's like the beginning and the way a character acts or the things that a character does and says and experiences. Then there's like a middle, then there's like an end, and they don't stay the same across the beginning, middle, end, right? They tend to change. And you guys have also been learning about character traits, right? I got to be in here a little bit yesterday, and you were thinking about Mean Gene from the picture book, Mr. Lincoln's Way, right? What were a couple of character traits that some of you guys were thinking about from Mean Gene? Leo?
Well, I was thinking he was, at the beginning, he was like disrespectful, bullying, and not kind to others. And then in the middle, he was actually, I really liked it because he was inspired by something. And then Mr. Lincoln found that and he had a bunch of the birds that he really liked. And then he was...
And at the end, did he change officially?
And then it was like the total opposite.
Wow. So what's a character trait? So you gave us some character traits for how he was at the beginning. Can anyone else give us a character trait or two for how he was at the end? Yeah?
Like, he went from, like, being, like, super cold-hearted and not caring about anyone to, like, caring about nature, being nice to people.
So being nice, being caring.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So we're going to do a little bit of this together in the book, A Bad Case of Stripes, which you guys know already, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're going to think a little bit about how, at the beginning of a book, you want to definitely think about the characters' strengths and their struggles, right? And like, what kind of person are they? How are they behaving? What kind of person are they at the beginning?
Yeah. So you want to ask yourself this question. You want to say, what are some of the character traits that I'm noticing? Okay, so I'm going to put this here at the beginning.
Okay. Then you read, you move forward in the book, and toward the middle, you can be thinking about, well, what's happening now? How am I noticing my character changing? How are they acting or responding to life differently? Exactly. So again, you can ask yourself, what am I noticing about the character's traits now? Beginning, middle. And then you want to do the end.
And then once you get to the end, again, you've thought about this character, and then how would I describe the character's internal traits at the end? How has he or she shown growth?
Okay. So just like you were saying with Mr. Lincoln's Way, let's do the same thing with A Bad Case of Stripes, okay? We're going to kind of zoom through this because your teacher and I reread it together yesterday, and we were thinking we know some good parts to zoom in on for the beginning, middle, and the end. So put a little tab here. This is the first page. It's toward the beginning. And Camilla, this little part, I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to think aloud. I'm going to try to figure out, like, what are some of the character traits that I'm noticing. So it said, today she was fretting even more than usual. It was the first day of school, and she couldn't decide what to wear. There were so many people to impress. She tried on 42 outfits, but none seemed quite right. She put on a pretty red dress and looked in the mirror. Then she screamed, and you guys know why she screamed, right? Okay, so I have to think to myself, so what are some of the character traits that I'm noticing? So she was fretting even more than usual. Fretting is another word for worrying. So I'm guessing that she acts that way a lot. So I could even say she's like a worried person. She couldn't decide what to wear. So I'm thinking that maybe that's showing us that she's indecisive. She can't make a decision. And that fits with like being worried, right? And then there were so many people to impress. I'm thinking that maybe this is showing me that maybe a character trait that I'm noticing is that she's not confident. She doesn't have self-confidence. So there's a word for that. I don't know if some of you guys know this word. She's seeming to me to be insecure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so do you see how many character traits did I come up with? Mm-hmm. Like kind of like 1, 2, 3, right? They're all sort of connected to each other. Okay.
And guys, did you notice, just like we were talking about in our reading, that she was using the character's actions in order to really make those inferences of what the character's doing, how the character's acting, and even kind of thinking in her head. So I'm going to put this right here.
Yeah. Now, do you notice there's a little sticky note here, and then your teacher wrote down some of the things that I was thinking, right? So if I'm reading along and I'm noticing some of these things and they feel important to me, I could put a little thing here to mark it, because I could go back and be like, oh yeah, this is where I noticed this. Or I could even write down some of the words, and do you mind if I put them here? And I could put them on the page. Okay? All right, so let's scooch ahead to the middle. And I'm going to reread just a little bit for you guys, and I want you to turn and talk to your partner. What are you noticing? What traits do you feel like you're noticing now? Okay? Ready? All right, so in this part, this is when the school principal calls the house, and he tells the parents that he wants them to keep her home from school, right? So here's the part about Camilla. Camilla was so embarrassed. She couldn't believe that 2 days ago everyone liked her. Now nobody wanted to be in the same room with her. Her father tried to make her feel better. Is there anything I can get you, sweetheart? He asked. No, thank you, sighed Camilla. What she really wanted was a nice plate of lima beans, but she had been laughed at enough for one day. Okay, so you guys remember how she's starting to change? Okay, so turn and talk to the person next to you. What are you noticing about her character traits now?
Before, she's still kind of peevy like she had before. She's confident, and now she's very worried because she laughed enough for one day. She doesn't want to be laughed at, so she's kind of scared too, like but it kind of changes because now she's embarrassed. Before she wasn't didn't have embarrassed, and now she's embarrassed. And maybe she makes people worried because she had like 2 days. They all liked her, and then when she goes the next day, everybody is shouting at her, and nobody wants to stay in the same class. Everybody is bullying her.
Okay, 3, 2. Because we're just using this as an example to think beginning, middle, end. Okay, 3, 2, 1. So, what did you guys just say? What would be some of the character traits that you're noticing now? Yeah.
I think she's nervous because...
Did anyone else say that? Yeah, okay, good.
Because she wants to impress everyone.
Okay. So she's still in this mode of needing to impress other people, which is connected to insecure still, but now you're adding on nervous. Okay, I'm going to call on someone else, sweetie. Okay, what else? Any other ideas? Yeah?
That she's giving, instead of getting what she'd like, she's letting other people tell her what she needs.
Okay, so she's not using herself, her own ideas, she's having other people tell her? Okay, yeah?
She's like, I don't like any more lima beans because the others don't like it.
Okay, so she's being like pressured by what other people think? Okay. Okay, anything different from what we've already said? Okay, you want to add one more?
Probably like scared.
Yeah, I heard other people saying the word scared, right? Okay, so do we have a couple of things up here?
Nervous, being pressured.
Scared. Okay. All right, so we'll do one more part. Ready? So now we're going to zoom to the end, and this is when that woman, I don't remember her name. Yeah, the little woman who is plump and sweet as a strawberry. So then thank you. So she comes in and she uses the magic beans, right? Okay, so I'm going to read from here, and then you guys will turn and talk again. So Camilla wanted a big heaping plate full of lima beans more than just about anything, but she was still afraid to admit it. Yuck, she said, no one likes lima beans, especially me. Is she telling the truth? No. Oh dear, the old woman said sadly, I guess I was wrong about you. She put the beans back in her bag and started toward the door. Camilla watched the old woman walk away. Those beans would taste so good, and being laughed at for eating them was nothing compared to what she'd been going through. She finally couldn't stand it. Wait, she cried. The truth is, I really love lima beans. And then the woman gives them to her. Okay, so now turn and talk. What are you noticing now at the end? What is she showing us?
She's admitting what she actually feels is different. She is
Let's just write down a few words. I mean, so that we hear some of them, but let's just make up some of our own now.
Not like worried anymore.
I would say secure.
She isn't
More confidence, yeah.
She's more confident. She isn't insecure anymore. So she has more
And like maybe, is there something from making her own decisions? Independent?
Finally admitting it.
Easier. Yeah, and then we'll just put it up, or I'll put it here, and then we'll say it.
That she like finally
Taking control. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Eyes back up here. So we heard a bunch of different words, a bunch of different traits being used. So do you guys agree with these? So did anyone talk about how now she's acting more secure? And I just heard you saying she's kind of taking control for herself now. Then we also put she's more confident. Did anyone talk about that with their partner? Okay, good. And then lastly we put she's being independent now. Okay, so you see how she's changing from beginning, middle, end. And what we're doing is we're trying to name the character traits that we notice for those different parts, the beginning, the middle, end. Because most of your characters in most of your books that are stories will be changing across time. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? All right, so this is something, hands down, this is something you want to be able to do in any book when you're reading. You want to be noticing, how is my character or any of the characters acting toward the beginning? What are the character traits I'm noticing? How is it changing in the middle? And then finally, by the end, what's it like? Okay? And if some of you guys want to try marking some of those spots, maybe you're at the beginning of a book, maybe you're more in the middle, maybe you're more at the end, we have some of these extra tabs. And if some of you guys wanted to try jotting down some of the words, the character traits that match those parts, you could do that today too. Sound good? Okay.
Okay. Thumbs up when you are ready to go find your reading. Okay, so as you guys settle down and start reading, some of the teachers will come to some of you and they'll ask you to have a conference with them, okay? Let's see.